Ned wakes up in a bed before Bobby B and Cersei, the latter of whom is also furious about Tyrion's kidnapping. She tries to emasculate the king to get Ned punished, but he ain't having that shit. Bobby is just sick of both of them and wants both the Lannisters and the Starks to stop antagonizing each other, and he also demands that Ned retakes his cool hand badge. In the meantime, he's still super jazzed on killing a pregnant girl, and he goes to celebrate by hunting wild animals. Across the sea, Daenerys tries to awaken her stone-like dragon egg by putting it on some coals. It don't work. Also, she's seemingly immune to fire. Back to the plot, Bran has a dream where he can walk. Also, I guess there's that raven thing that has 3 eyes. Maybe that's important too. When he wakes up, he tries the new horse riding tech that Tyrion gave him, and it works, so that's pretty cool, I guess. While that's going on, Robb Stark, now acting Lord of Winterfell, and Theon discuss the fuckery happening in King's Landing. Theon wants to wage war, and Robb doesn't. Bran wanders off, now fully mobile, and gets jumped by some wildlings, which is a fancy term for people not from our country. More accurately, it's the people north of that inconspicuous 600-foot ice wall. Robb and Theon show up and save him and kill almost all of them, except this one. Tyrion, who is still jailed in the Vale, is awoken by a gale and begins to wail, to no prevail. I'm sorry. In King's Landing, Arya is getting her sword training from Syrio Forel, who continues to teach her the nimble fighting style of the Eastern lands. Back across the sea, Daenerys continues her transformation into a true horse queen by eating a horse heart. Fully. All of it. And they fucking love her for it. Afterwards, Viserys, pissed that Dany is getting all the attention, tries to steal the dragon eggs. Jorah Mormont stops him, showing some loyalty, which is funny because he's the one who told King's Landing about the pregnancy to begin with. Back at the Vale, Tyrion tries to use his enormous family wealth to escape. The jailer is asked to deliver a message to Lysa and does, that being that Tyrion wishes to confess to his crimes. When he's taken to the throne, he confesses to a bunch of unrelated nonsense and makes a joke of it. And he doubles down on the fact that he hasn't done anything wrong. When Lysa gets fed up with him, he demands trial by combat, an actual real-life thing that happened under the assumption that if you can win a battle, it's because the gods decided that you were innocent. That's for real, look it up. They both pick champions to represent them, and Tyrion picks Jaime, knowing that the whole gods thing is bullshit and that Jaime can't lose to anyone because he's too sick. Lysa refuses to wait for Jaime to arrive from King's Landing and says pick someone else. This mercenary named Bronn from the trip up here decides to stand up for Tyrion. While on the hunt, Bobby V reminisces about his escapades before he had responsibilities. Renly, now influenced by Loras, is pretty pissed off at this seeming shrugging off of kingly duties and outlook. In the Red Keep, Ned is acting as king and has to deal with a bunch of bullshit peasants and problems. One of them mentions that the Mountain is doing some nonsense seemingly out of the orders of the Lannisters. Ned orders the death of the Mountain, and also orders a raven to bring in Tywin Lannister, who is the father of the 3 Lannisters we know, so that he may face trial in King's Landing. Tyrion's trial happens. There's a fight. Bronn wins. Turns out he's pretty sick too. Tyrion is now free to go, and Bronn joins him on his way out. Sansa is being extremely rude to her septa for no good reason. Joffrey comes to apologize for ignoring her and generally being a punk, and the 2 monster people continue to fall happily in love. Afterward, Ned decides that the girls aren't safe here in King's Landing. Sansa doesn't want to go because she wants to be the queen and shit. Arya doesn't want to go because she's learning how to sword fight real cool. In the protest, Sansa mentions how she dreams of having Joffrey's blonde babies. And this triggers a realization in Ned that no joke plays an Inception boom sound effect. Based on this sudden epiphany, Ned decides to go read that big old book of lineages, and he sees that every Baratheon ever has always had black hair. I guess in this universe, black hair is so dominant that it just eats any and every other gene. Dany is celebrating with her horse people, and Viserys enters, spouting more shit about how he's not getting what he deserves, and that he's the one true king. Drogo mocks him further, and he continues his tantrum by threatening Dany at sword point. He knows full well that the Dothraki cannot shed blood here, so he feels extremely safe, and he demands the crown that he was promised. Drogo says, "Aight man, I'll get you your crown." Drogo proceeds to empty a soup pot, melt down some gold in there, and pour that shit on Viserys' head, killing him in one of the most gruesome manners imaginable.
A king is crowned.
Dany seems like chillingly unbothered.